Hey everyone. Today we did integers and absolute value. We started out with a number line like the kids had in first grade. We described it as the one that was on their desk, right next to all the rainforest animals. And we learned at the very beginning of math, always started at 0. When we were in first grade, we realized that positive numbers went to the right. The reason we knew positive numbers went to the right is only numbers went to the right. Back in first grade, the only numbers we knew were positive numbers. So if we asked them to find 4, they would start at 0 and then count 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice we're going 4 steps to the right. When we got to 5th grade, what we realized was that the number line didn't only just go to the right, it also goes to the left. But we still follow the first grade rule of always starting at 0. So if we want someone to go to the positive side, they go to the right. If we want numbers to go to the negative side, again we start at 0 and we go to the left. And that's something very basic but very important. Positive numbers go to the right, negative numbers go to the left. The big question then pops up is 0 positive or negative? And the answer is neither, because 0 is the starting point. In order to be positive, you have to go to the right at least one tiny step. And in order to be negative, you have to go to the left at least one tiny step. So 0 is neither positive or negative. We talked about opposites. And opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line, but in opposite directions. What that means is, we always start at 0, but if I wanted to go to 3, I would go to the right 3 steps. And if I want to go to negative 3, I would go to the left 3 steps. You notice that these lines are the exact same length. They just happen to go in opposite directions on the number line. We talked about the different kinds of numbers. The first ones that everyone learned in elementary school were called counting numbers, and those are the numbers that you use to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But you'll notice that I left off the 0. That's why we need to have a group of numbers called whole numbers. It's all the counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it also includes 0. And this leads us to our first vocabulary word of the chapter, integers. Integers, if we know what whole numbers are and we know what opposites are, the definition makes a lot of sense. They're whole numbers and they're opposites. So integers are all the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're also all the negative ones, like negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. Notice there are no fractions and decimals, or decimals, in integers. These are all just the nice full numbers. The last thing we talked about was absolute value. Absolute value kind of plays into what we've been talking about today. It's a number's distance from 0 on the number line, but absolute value does not care if you went right or left. So, if you have the absolute value of 4, what that means is that you are 4 steps away from 0. It does not care that you went to the right, only that you are 4 steps away from 0. And negative 4, the absolute value of negative 4, is also 4, meaning that negative 4 is 4 steps away from 0 to the left, but all we're caring about is the distance. And we notice that 4, the absolute value of 4 and the absolute value of negative 4 have the exact same lines. They are the exact same distance away from 0. We practice finding absolute value, where the absolute value of negative 2 basically just says that the absolute value of negative 2 is 2 steps away from 0. The absolute value of 8 means that 8 is 8 steps away from 0. And the absolute value of 2.5 means that we are 2.5 steps away from 0 to the left. But all we care about is how many steps away from 0 we are. We then went on to this to be able to find out which number is bigger. And we learned that what you have to do is first find the absolute value of each number. Notice the absolute value of 6 is 6 and the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Now it's very easy to tell that 6 is bigger than 3. Students got to practice a little bit more, and you'll notice that this was the correct answer. We did a little bit more, and we found that even answers could be equal to each other. The last thing we did was writing numbers from least to greatest. And that was where we gave students a list of numbers and wanted to put them in order from least to greatest. Once again, the very first thing that we had to do was make sure that we took the numbers, or found the absolute value of all the numbers in the absolute value. So you'll notice the absolute value of 3 was 3 and the absolute value of -2 was 2. Once we had this information, we could put them in order from least to greatest. We put the negative numbers first, -5 and -2, and the positive numbers next, 2, 3, and 8. And that was our lesson. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to give me an email, and I'll see you guys in class. Take care. Bye-bye.